Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for your love, for your support, and for your interest. Today we are going back to kitchen to make an African donut called Yovo Doko or Doko back in my home country, Benin Republic, and Puff Puff in Nigeria. We need all-purpose flour. I'm using water cup for measurement, so I will use a half cup of flour. We will also need water, warm water, neither hot nor lukewarm. We will also use salt and sugar, and finally baking soda. So today I want to try out two different flours. The first one is the self-rising flour, which already contains baking soda. So I will not need to add any baking soda to my flour to make my pastry. And then we will use the regular flour, which I will need to add baking soda to. I'm also going to do two different recipes of puff puff, the off-white puff puff and the golden one. So for the off-white puff puff, we don't need to add any sugar, but for the golden one, we will add sugar to our dough. I think it's the sugar that makes the donut be golden. Now let's make the doughs. I will first do with the self-rising flour. I'm using a half water cup of flour and adding just 3 pinches of salt and 2 coffee spoons of sugar. I'm not very strict about measurement because it depends on everyone's taste. Some people might love more or less sugar or salt than others. So just taste and do it depending on how you love it. After mixing flour plus salt and sugar, I can add water. I just take a half cup of water and add a part of it to my flour. After stirring my mixture, I check its consistency and I realize there is not enough water because the dough is stiff. So I added the rest of the water. Then my dough gets too liquid. But it's okay. I'm just gonna adjust with a little bit more flour so that I can have a firm but neither liquid nor stiff dough. Then I will be stirring my dough until I get a smooth dough with some little air bubbles. Let's make the second dough now. It's the same process as with the first dough. The only difference here is that we are using the regular flour. So I'm adding baking soda to it to make it rise. And I also want this donut to be off-white. Therefore, I'm not adding sugar to this dough. For the baking soda, I'm adding about a half coffee spoon of baking soda to a half water cup of flour. And for the water, I just learned from my first dough that a half cup of water is too much for a half cup of flour. So I will use a little bit less than a half cup of water. Then I do exactly the same thing I did for the first dough. So I will just stir my pastry until I get a very smooth pastry with some little air bubbles. Now, as my doughs are Then I will cover them either with a clean linen towel or with a foil paper, and allow about 2 hours to let them rise if I have time. But if I am in a hurry, I can just put them near a heat source to accelerate the rising process for about just 30 minutes, and they will be ready. About 2 hours later, here are my dough ready to be fried. Both have risen, the one with a rising flour and the one with regular flour. Both are ready. So I already put some oil in a pot at a low medium heat. Now I will just make some little balls of my dough in the oil, and once I have enough balls in my pot, I will be turning them over all their faces to make them totally golden. Once they seem well fried and golden, I will take them out of oil, and I will drain my my donut. I can see now I have a beautiful and golden donut. So I will drain them and set them in a dish covered with a paper towel, which will absorb the overflow oil from my donut. And now we will make our off-white donut. We will just do exactly the same thing we did with the golden donut. The only difference is they will not get golden. So you can see from the result that when you don't add sugar to your dough, you will get off-white donut. My already sweet donut are golden, and for my off-white donut, I will just add some sugar at the moment I'm ready to eat them. So before I start eating, I make sure I get my sugar ready. So I will just add some sugar to my donut. Just put some sugar on them. I can control the amount of sugar I want on my donut, and we can eat them anytime, at any time of the day, for breakfast or snack. I'm eating my golden donut right now as breakfast with this porridge called gbangba back in my country, Benin. Thank you for watching this, and I hope you enjoy it and that you will be making your own puff puff from now. Please don't forget to comment, to like, to share, and to subscribe. See you later for another video.